Today on the Time West Show, we sit down with a financial recruiter who explains and talks about the daily grind, the seven-figure salaries, the schools, what you need to do, what the future looks like when it comes to placing people at these 6- and 7-figure positions. Enjoy the show. Being in the financial recruiting sector, what kind of candidates do you usually recruit?
So when I'm recruiting people, the first thing I'm looking at is their education. You know, I was taught from a very early stage as a recruiter that the undergrad degree is really what's important. So I want people with math, computer science, electrical engineering, stuff like that. And I want it from, top schools, Princeton, MIT, Caltech,
So Ivy League.
Yeah, or even better than there's a lot of, universe like around the world schools like Sharif that people don't know about, IIT, which is Indian Institute of Technology, Moscow Institute of Math and Physics. So it's not really an American thing. It's really a global thing. And, got to be honest with you, from what I've seen, that the foreign candidates are usually stronger than the American counterparts.
Why or how so?
Because it's harder if you're in the middle of nowhere in China or in Russia, it's harder to get to the States. You got to be the 0.01 percentile is what we always say, the 1 in 1,000. You got to be determined to make it here. And, if you've been working your ass off and beating the competition, you're going to do better, in an interview with, a hedge fund that's seeing the smartest people in the world. You're going to stand out from the crowd. You're going to have a story to tell versus, some guy that was born with a silver spoon in his mouth who grew up in Princeton. Everything was easier. That guy that's more of a grinder, more of a hustler, it's going to come across because, these people assess people for a living and they see thousands of geniuses throughout the year. So they have certain things they're looking for, and that hustle, that grit is certainly one of them.
Okay, so when it comes to that, is there like certain companies that require certain type of people, or how does that usually work? Or what does that look like with these companies?
So all these companies, they're looking for quant researchers, they're looking for developers. That's what I cover. But they really want the same profile, which is the combination of math and computer science skills, but also communication, likability. If you're a hermit, if you're a robot, they're not going to want to hire you. You got to be able to communicate with people, and you got to stand out from the crowd. Whatever job they're looking to hire, these guys interview a lot of people. They pay very big fees for the people they hire through us. It's not going to be easy. They're going to interview a lot of people and hire a few, and that's just the way they roll.
Could you name some of these companies?
I cannot.
Okay.
They pay us a lot of money. I don't want to get in trouble.
Okay, I understand. When it comes to social injustice and social unrest like we have today, everything with Black Lives Matter, do the companies ever come to you and say, oh, well, since everything that's going on, I want a minority candidate, or can you send me this, or can you send me that? Is that ever a thing?
It was a thing before all this. A guy that runs our research, visionary. A lot of people from my firm give him shit, but this guy definitely transformed the firm, and he saw this diversity thing. So we had diversity projects prior to all this. So this has been a theme of theirs for a while. Like, okay. The problem is that they're not going to lower their standards. And it is not to say that they don't hire Black people and women and whatnot. It's just they're going to have to adhere to the same, 1 in 1,000 standards like everybody else. And they're, some of the smartest guys that we've placed at these hedge funds, proprietary trading firms have been Black guys that have transformed these organizations. So, I would say really for a while, these guys are colorblind. They want the smartest of the smartest. They don't care what color you are. Doesn't matter.
And having the smartest of the smartest, just in your experience, how does that usually work out when it comes to just background, ethnicity, and race? How does that usually work out, if you could say?
I would say from what I've seen, it's really more the Asian and the Russians.
Okay.
Are the ones that, really stand out from the crowd.
And when you're talking about hedge funds and things like that, you're talking about people trading commodities, and you're talking about options management.
I'm talking about the type of organizations that we're working with. So you have a proprietary trading firm and you have a hedge fund. The difference between them, hedge fund, you have to have at least $1 million to invest with them. If me and you try to invest, they'd be like, no, you got to prove that you're worth $1 million, because then you're more a sophisticated investor. You understand the risk of investing with a hedge fund. Proprietary trading firm, you're trading the guy's money. Some guy with 500 million plops down 200 million. He can lever it up to $2 billion. He is a proprietary trading firm. So that's the difference between these two. And as you can imagine, it's a very competitive game. And these guys, you know, has such will pay top dollar what they have to pay. Entry level PhD. I heard, I mean, I don't know if this is true or not. I heard that Google's paying entry level PhDs 800,000, which to me is insane. I've heard 600K offers for entry level PhDs, but right now it's even higher because these guys are just bidding with each other and they're driving up the market. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so there's another question. So how are the salaries differ from before COVID and now during COVID?
It's even higher. My industry is paying better. My industry is doing very, very well. Pay attention to what's going on in the stock market. It keeps going up. There's liquidity. As long as it's going back and forth, these guys are ahead of everybody else. You know, they're very well equipped to take advantage of situations where people are trading back and forth, especially the retail investors that are coming to play. I mean, these guys are going to eat their lunch all day. And when these guys make money, they want to hire people. When they want to hire people, their competitor that's also doing well wants to hire people. It's going to create a supply and demand influx where there's just not that many guys out there, but there's more demand. It's going to increase the salary these guys get. So instead of an entry-level PhD getting 600K, he could get 800, 900K from Google because he's got a competing offer. You know, one of my clients for 650K. Google don't want to lose out. They're like, look, we'll give you 800. Boom. Does that make sense?
Yeah, nice. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Now, touch on something else. Do you ever have somebody that's contacting you and you see something on their resume where you say, look, you need to go back in the lab or you need to have this, that, and the third? Do you get that?
You know, it's a young man game, what I do. So the older you are, the more of a reason you got to stand out from the crowd. So, you know, the meat and potatoes is 2 to 6 years. Older than 6 years, I ain't saying you can't get a job. It's just going to be a little bit more difficult. They're looking for
Wait, now older than 6 years is older than
experience.
Experience, work experience, or coming out of school? Is it
working,
so?
I'm talking about work experience.
Work experience. Okay. So the less time you have, the better. What you saying? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if you're a guy PhD just coming out of school, you're more likely to have a chance with your firm than a guy that's been around and he's been around for 6-7 years.
It's kind of apples and oranges because that guy's been around for 6-7 years, has a specialized skill. And there's going to be certain times when a client's going to need that specialized skill. But I'm talking about from a broad mandate. If you put every single search that I work on into an umbrella, most of them are going to be for younger people.
Right. Yeah, no, I get that. So the traffic, like what kind of traffic are you seeing now compared to before? Is there still a lot of candidates?
It's higher. It's right now, like these places are learning how to hire people without meeting them. So, you know, they're figuring out, okay, XYZ, we need to hire that person. They're doing it via Zoom, whatnot. And that, you know, that hasn't hurt their ability to hire people. That's what I'm saying. Even though they can't meet people, they still want to pull the trigger and hire new talent when they can. And the COVID thing is not affecting them because they've learned how to hire people without meeting them, in essence.
Right. So how do you go about putting somebody inside of a company or suggesting somebody to a company when it comes to the interview process and the resume process? Is that something do you actually interview a guy or a girl, or how's that?
I don't really interview a guy. I look at their resume. You know, I talk to them. If I think, you know, they can put 2 sentences together, I'm going to give it a shot. Usually with me, you know, you're going to have to really do something for me to not want to work with you if you look good on paper. So I'm not really interviewing. I'm trying to find out where you've been sent at, because obviously my business is very competitive and there's other companies that do the same thing as me. And a lot of these guys have been sent everywhere prior to you getting them. So it's important in my business to talk to people that aren't looking, because if you can sell yourself accordingly, you're going to be their first call once you decide to start looking for something new. Right.
Yeah, definitely. Totally understand that. So when you think of somebody looking for somebody new and within that market, is there, I know you do have a niche, but is there a usual that you see on, so when it comes to a resume, a usual person or a person that you can look at and say, this is 100% shotgun, like this is 100% a go, especially for this company or most companies I have? Like, what does that resume look like before the conversation?
For the 1,000 resumes, I'll see one person like that. And the thing that'll stand out is the work that they're doing. So all these places are building a lot of the same systems together. If you had some guy we're looking for somebody that's built a machine learning platform before. If you see some guy that's done it from scratch at Google, you're like, that's a hitter. Right. That resume is worth $150,000. So that's, if you're asking me what that resume looks like, it's building something new at, you know, an innovative company that everybody's looking to build. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. So that was kind of what you deal with. So does the social media matter any when it comes to somebody that's a candidate that you're interested in, or candidate that you're looking in? Will that ever come up in the interview process with him in that
Yeah, it'll
company?
hurt. It'll hurt him if he's stupid and he did stupid things on Instagram or whatever, and they see it. So in that context, social media can only hurt you. It can't really help you.
Okay, so that is a thing.
What helps you with us is, if you were in Google Code Jam, you're the back-to-back coding champion. That type of press is great press. You're a gold medal international math Olympiad. Everybody's going to be jumping over circles to talk to you. So if you have that type of academic pedigree or that type of, contest where you've been successful, then it's going to work in your favor significantly.
Right. Yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense. So basically with a lot of these firms, especially when we're talking about coding, it's all about math, right? So they want math geniuses, right?
They want math, but coding can be something different. It is math oriented, obviously, because a lot of it's like logs and statistics and stuff like that. But you can be a coding genius and be shitty at math. But it's going to be, you're not going to get that tier 1 money. You get solid tier 2 money.
What's tier 1 money? Is that 800,000?
Yeah, exactly. 750 to 1.5.
Okay, so that's the companies that you deal with. These are the top salaries, right? And these are entry level salaries.
We place people for 10, 15 million. So
right. And what is that 10, 15 million? What does that look like? What type of resume?
Hitter.
What is that?
Okay. No, that's a guy that was running a significant trading firm. Somebody that was running SAC with somebody, for example. I mean, they still are. They're still a great firm, but the guys like that, guys that built, a trading business at Two Sigma, for example, from scratch. That's a $10, $15 million hitter. So somebody like that.
Right. Okay. So when I look at things like that, when we're talking about that, these guys that are going to get these high top salaries, will they usually come through you? Will they usually come through a recruiting service?
A lot of it's a referral.
Right.
Guys that have been in the business for a while. No guys like I think.
So are you calling people? Are you calling, like, if you have an inkling somebody maybe wanting to move, are you calling that guy because you know
I'm calling
him while he has a job?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm calling people that are not looking. I'm like, look, I'm happy if you're not looking. Just talk to me. You need to talk to people that aren't looking, because in that way you can guarantee they haven't been sent everywhere. It's a small world. We all work with the same clients. Mm-hmm. So if you don't get to somebody for, the guy in my competing search firm is going to get to him and send him to these places.
Right. Yeah. No, I definitely see how that contrast to that breaks down. So when you're dealing with all of these, it's and dealing with COVID, the stress of it, do you still have to be located? I guess because your firm usually works out of the Northeast pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
Now is that do you have to stay at these locations? And depending, if you don't have to stay in New York, my suggestion to you was, the salary sounds like doesn't matter if, let's say, a Facebook or a Google, or if there was somebody placed there. Would the salary matter if these people had to work remotely or if they had to work on site?
Well, that's the thing. You got to remember about our clients. They don't want nobody to work remotely. Everybody's working remotely, COVID right now. If they're going to sign you to an $800K offer, the understanding is once everything opens up, you're in the fucking office day one. Our clients don't pay people $1 million to work remote. So at this point, that's not really an option. It's a temporary thing where the understanding is once this shit is over with, you're getting in the office. So from my standpoint, being a recruiter, the interesting thing is, I've been working remotely from California for 3 or 4 years. Probably cost me, 100, 200 grand at least. It's better when you're in New York, when you're in the office, when you hear what's going on. Recruiting's an information game. And, I'm away from the information because the centerpiece of our information is our office, where our best recruiters are at, where they're talking to the top brass and hearing what's going on. So working remotely as a recruiter actually hurts me. But, the lifestyle is better, obviously. You
got the beach, right? You got the beach and you got the weather, right? You got the sun. So there you go.
I'll give up the 100, 200K. It's fine.
Yeah. So when you say these guys, so basically you see in the future that everything's coming back, right? These companies want people back, and these companies want people on site, right? They don't want to work remotely, right? They don't really want that.
Right? I think the interesting thing, and I heard it in the news yesterday, is whether these places can force people to take the vaccine. Because I don't know about you, but I ain't taking that vaccine.
I'm not taking it. Yeah.
I'll roll the dice with COVID. So A lot
Yeah.
of these, what I heard, a lot of places saying you got to take it. You got to take it. You can't work here. So I don't know if the clients that we work with are going to be like that. It's going to be interesting to see, how it plays out.
Yeah, well, I guess that'll make the job market it'd make it even slimmer for the companies looking for people,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you're gonna have a
Yeah.
group of people, no
They're
matter
not gonna-
what, they're not gonna take it. They don't want to,
No,
right?
no.
So
There's
that
people
creates
like
a
me
big
and
of a
you.
vacuum, right? Yeah, like me and you. But that creates a bigger vacuum that maybe that creates higher salary.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, at the end of the day, these guys don't like to lose people over money. Money's not really the consideration. Things like, reload, can I work from home once a week? Shit like this. It's kind of what, it's things where deals fall through because of it.
Deals don't fall through because of this.
No, they do fall through, not because of money, but
Oh, work from home one day a week?
Work from
Okay.
home one day a week, or he wants to reload 5 months from now and not immediately. Other factors besides money is my point.
So mostly for them to say no to a guy that they really wanted, the determining factors kind of geared around this guy's going to work on site, or this guy want to be in a different location in a few months. Is that?
Well, no, I think you got just people are fickle, right? Everybody has different motivations. So one guy doesn't care. He'll move tomorrow. He really wants a job. He'll take a lateral. And other people, that know they're really, really strong, are going to be a pain in the asses about every little thing. They know how good they are. They're going to insist on working from home one day a week. Expense account, XYZ, stuff like that. So I just think it's the human nature of it that it's not really about money. It's about these little intrinicities between each person.
So when it comes to your job and it comes to the future, right?
Yeah.
Do you ever look at it like AI will replace what you do when you look
Never.
at 5-10 years?
Never.
No?
Never.
Why not?
Never. You can't. Finding the needle in the rough, AI can't do that. There's a personality component too. All these people get bombarded by 1,000 recruiters. They're going to want to work with some they like and some they don't. AI can't do that. AI is not a personality. So no,
Well,
it'll never ever. And the other thing is, an AI can't close a person. The whole axiom is you don't use a recruiter to find people. You can find people yourself. Use a recruiter to close somebody. AI can't do that. You're going to talk to a robot. He's going to try to convince you to take a job. That's not going to work, right? You develop a relationship with someone where they trust your judgment. When it comes to game time, you got to close them. He values your opinion. You've proven to him that you're a trustworthy individual. You have his best, intention at heart. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What about the position that you're recruiting from? Do you see those positions going AI, which
No.
currently relates to your position, right?
No. Somebody's got to build that shit. There's always got to be somebody to build a new application. In 3 years, it's obsolete. You need somebody else to come in and build it. AI will never replace that shit, ever.
You don't think AI will ever replace whoever write his own code, whoever write his own?
No.
No? Okay.
Not as well as a human can.
Okay. So I guess you never think about switching industries or changing industry because
I hate my job. I hate my job. I always think about changing. But I like the company I work at. I like my boss. I like the freedom that I have. So there's intangible benefits to what I do.
Yeah, definitely. I understand that. So with all of that being said, looking to the future, do you see anything different that, let's say somebody now that's listening to this interview that wants to be in that top percentile, that wants to work with somebody like you, that wants to get those high 6 figures to 7 figures, right? Is there anything that you would say that would help that person? Especially now.
Go to a top 10 computer science school, study your ass off, make sure your GPA is north of 3.8. And additionally, go to a reputable school for your master's, computer engineering, electrical engineering. Get high quality internships. Get mentors at those places that can help you kind of learn the ins and outs of the coding that people are looking to hire at that point in time. And you can put yourself in a position, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a lot of people doing the same thing as you, but that's the blueprint.
That's good. That's good. I like that you said that because now, the sexy thing is, a lot of sexy thing is, okay, be an entrepreneur. You don't need to go to school, right? You hear that a lot, right?
Yes.
So in these positions that you're talking about, school is still going to be highly significant, right?
Highly.
It's going
more
it's
so
always
than
going to be
more so than being an entrepreneur. It's how they judge you. You're a smart entrepreneur.
You almost have to be an entrepreneur too, right? You almost have to have all of these skills and be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
When you talk to me about somebody that's building this machine, and they're giving out what 8 figures to a guy.
Seven figures.
Seven figures. they're giving out 7 figures to a guy with a machine, right? With a guy that built his own machine or he builds his own work while he's working, right? Pretty much.
Well, no. It's not really. It's about what you're doing at the place that you're working at. So
yeah, but it's almost like, let's say you created a whole new system for this place, right? You created a whole new system at the place you're working.
Yeah.
So
Usually-
in turn,
usually
if you had the
within a
resources,
team.
you could do that yourself.
Usually,
right?
you know,
if you had
it's-
the resources, yeah,
yeah.
you would have had done that.
But
on
also
your own.
you have a non, like, you can't use their technology. You know what I mean? They make you sign something where they're like, the stuff you do here is ours.
Yeah, I'm just trying to put the correlation together that a lot of these guys are entrepreneurs. Like they do create systems and they create huge processes that on their own they could have created this. But
Well,
they just
a lot of
created this
these
system.
guys have side things where they do an app.
Right.
They kind of sell on the side, and it doesn't
Right.
compete with what their company's doing. So the company's like, fine, you want to do an app
Yeah.
on the side and get paid on it. So you're right. A lot of these guys do have an entrepreneurial bend to them.
Yeah, they do, because it's almost like, listen, they got everything they can do whatever they want. They just don't have to use their own money, right? Or worry about making their own money. So that's the only twist here with that one. Is there anything that you can add that you would say would anything extra for candidates out there?
The books that you read, there's I think there's GitHub, there's other stuff where you can kind of see what the latest technologies are. So I would be reading that. It's not GitHub. There's another forum. I can't remember the name of it, but
What's the name of that? What can you say that again?
the one is
you went over?
GitHub, but there's another one that I can't remember. There's all these forums where the latest technologies are kind of talked about between developers, and that's a good start to kind of see what people are looking for, what they're trying to build, and whatnot.
Okay, and this is the thing that if you do get one of these jobs and you are one of these people, is this the thing that keeps changing?
Yes, no, I mean not like I would say little by little. It kind of gets refined would be a better word versus change, because they're using C++ code 10 years ago. They're still doing it now, but they're using it in different ways, and it certainly, it has evolutionized from 10 years ago.
Until next time, that's a wrap from the Time West Show.